Cinder City looks like Destiny, The Division, and Anthem combined. This looks fine, right? This looks fine. Unreal, I would guess Unreal Engine 5. I mean, look at it. Of course it's Unreal Engine 5. It's from RX Gaming. I guess that's just a YouTuber. Just a YouTuber.
If you've been waiting for another looter shooter to get excited about, then this one might be worth keeping an eye on. With Destiny 2 entering its final era, The Division 3 still feeling a long way off, and Anthem...
I would never play The Division 3. I really liked The Division 1 as a single player game. I played The Division 2, just like the first one, as a single player game. But I also think that The Division 2 should have been just an expansion to The Division 1. It makes no sense that you have two and soon 3 live service games that are called The Division. That's just retarded. That's just retarded. But yeah, it's Ubisoft, so of course it's retarded.
Well, we all know how that ended. There hasn't really been a brand new looter shooter that's managed to get people really interested, even though...
Huh. I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in this, yes. Absolutely. I wonder why. It's a massive gun.
Games like the first Descendant have found an audience. But do you remember Project LLL? You know, the game that kind of looked like someone smashed together The Division, Destiny, and Anthem all together. Well, it's now officially called Cinder City, and the devs have just revealed a brand new overview talking about exactly what their vision for the game is and what they're building towards. So today, we're going to go over everything we know about Cinder City so far and whether this could actually be the next big looter shooter.
The next big thing. Oh, it's always... the next big thing. I don't really need the next big thing. I just need something that's nice and good. And I personally would wish this was a single player game. But I would guess it's not.
So we've actually gone back through the Gamescom hands-on previews and previous developer interviews to see what's changed since the early reveals. So first of all, what actually is Cinder City? If you're someone that missed the original reveal, Cinder City is still being published by NCSoft and it's still aiming to be a large-scale, online, third-person shooter with an open...
Told you. It's another live service game. Yeah, great.
...world, cooperative PvE content and MMO-style systems. Now last year, a few people were scared that...
The exact thing I don't want in my games.
The game had dropped the multiplayer element as the developers were showing off solo campaign.
Huh. The reasons I want to play the game just ran across the screen.
Gameplay. But after Gamescom, they clarified that people shouldn't judge the game purely from the story demo. They said if you played the single player demo, it might be slightly misleading. The campaign is not the primary content of the final project. The majority part will be the open world online shooter where hundreds of players can play together simultaneously. So I wouldn't worry too much as we're still getting a full online game, which is pretty awesome as we need one. So now that
no thanks.
you know what the game is, let's go through all of the cool stuff that we've learned and discover more from the developer interviews as there's a lot of information about the setting, the gameplay modes, and the general themes of the game. So starting with the story details, we know rather than taking place hundreds of years in the future, Cinder City is set in an alternative version.
When this is hundreds of years in the future, why is it tech so primitive?
Of 21st century Seoul, where history's been completely rewritten after a mysterious incident that supposedly originated in the 23rd century. It is a little confusing at first, but the basic idea is an event completely changed humanity's timeline, leaving Seoul, Korea overrun by mutated monsters, powerful criminal organizations, and constant conflict. We can see some of these factions in the trailer and some weird, massive hand things that look pretty cool. And in this, humanity's last line of defense are elite super soldiers known as the Cinder Knights. Humanity's last line of defense are elite super soldiers.
Why does she look like she hasn't even finished school? I mean, I don't complain. I mean, look at this here. You know, my cursor is there. there. I'm not complaining.
Soldiers known as the Cinder Knights, and this is basically where we come in. We play as Seven, who is one of these soldiers, whose journey begins in a mission to rescue his daughter. We know that things don't go as expected and quickly spiral into something much bigger, with the devs saying that players will eventually uncover hidden truths buried beneath the city itself, and become caught in a conflict that decides the future of humanity. But one thing we actually weren't expecting is just how story-driven the game seems to be. The devs have said we meet a large cast of characters through the campaign, each with their own motives and storylines. So it sounds like they're aiming for something much more cinematic, rather than the usual setup for looter shooters, which is simply running from mission to mission shooting monsters. Also, the cinematics that we've seen so far look really clean as well, so we're impressed there. But another thing that they're pushing in the developer overview is the world itself. According to the devs, Cinder City is built around a massive open...
This is 100% Unreal Engine. I mean, I'm not complaining. I can run it now, unlike before. Yeah, the game looks good. I have no complaints about how the game looks. It's just, you know, oh god, another live service game. Great.
Version of Saul that will continue expanding over time. Then from previous interviews, we already know that the playable city is planned to be around 7 by 7 kilometers, which in gaming terms means it's probably going to end up being one of the largest environments we've seen in a shooter like this. This also lines up with what they told press after Gamescom in 2025, where they explained that the campaign isn't the main focus of the game. Instead, the core experience is meant to be a huge shared online world where hundreds of players can exist in the same city together. They even revealed that they've been running internal tests with around 150 to 200 players occupying the same space. It's going to be pretty cool if they can pull this off, because 100...
Now the question is there PvP? I hope not. Please don't make the Arc Raiders mistake.
150 to 200 players is quite a lot compared to the existing looter shooters, which can normally have around 12 to 24 players normally. Then if you're hoping there'll be plenty of things to grind with...
Yeah, because Unreal Engine is not good at having a lot of people running around, seemingly.
With your friends, then this is probably the part where you'll be most interested, because co-op PvE is meant to be one of the biggest pillars of the game. The new developer overview confirms that players will tackle missions together, overcome large-scale encounters, and earn rewards through teamwork. But previous interviews actually went into a lot more detail about what happens when you reach the endgame. They were asked about the endgame content previously, and they said, as for the endgame, it will revolve around PvE content like boss fights. The second element would be instant dungeons that require a certain number of players to join and strategize together. Now we have seen...
Just like the Division.
Plenty of examples of this, like enormous mechanical bosses surrounded by multiple players attacking them from the ground. It kind of reminded us a little bit of MMO world bosses mixed with a sort of Destiny raid vibe, except on a much larger scale. And to be real, this is the type of content that we're actually excited to play. Hopefully the execution of...
This looks actually way more exciting than Arc Raiders. Way more exciting. The gameplay looks more exciting. At least the fighting, you know, the bosses. And at least the characters look more exciting, you know, especially the woman. Especially the woman, if you get what I mean.
It is good though, because sometimes in other games, the designers have just thrown in a big mob with no mechanics and a huge health bar and just called it a day, and that sort of thing is never too fun. But for the combat, it does look like a mix of everything, which has us really interested to try it out. There's cover shooting mechanics in a similar way to the Division. There's movement abilities and flashy powers that look very Destiny-like, and the mech combat, as said before, kind of makes us think of Anthem. But from people that actually played the Gamescom build, one of the most consistent things that was said about the combat itself is that it felt better than many expected, even though the game still needed polish in other areas. Then the latest overview describes the combat as being much more cinematic in the full game, and a...
Wait, combat and classes? There are classes. I don't want to have classes. Oh, don't tell me the classes are gender locked.
Previous interview got some interesting information about how the character system actually works. This game has heroes equipped with different tactical weapons and abilities. The devs have previously said that they're aiming for 9 playable heroes at launch. But when they were asked about whether the game would use the classic MMO trinity, the devs said, "We're trying to diverge from the traditional MMORPG formula. It's rather about specific tactical weapons or skills that characters are equipped with." Then they gave examples like
Okay.
redirecting incoming projectiles back at enemies, or deploying a protective shield dome to defend your squad. Now, we actually like this approach because it feels more natural for a shooter type of game, although we will admit we do miss those old school MMO roles where someone was fully committed to being the tank or the healer of the group.
Yes, but... Oh, gee, nice frame. But this is not a fantasy game. You're shooting... Everyone is shooting from afar. And even all these fantasy games back in general, just fantasy games, it's not realistic that, oh yeah, I have the aggro of the monster. And then the guy gets healed and the monster isn't attacking the healer. It's just not, it doesn't make sense.
Overall though, we think that Cinder City is looking much stronger and better than it did a year ago. We're getting more and more interested in it, and we aren't sure if they're dropping the PvP element of the game yet, as it is still early days. There were mentions of PvP style gameplay that would work well, especially if they go for something like the Dark Zone from The Division. That would be awesome. But
Yes, I can see that, but please not Arc Raiders. No.
it looks like they're mostly focused on PvE content for the game.
Why I'm so interested in playing the game?
Now, as for when we'll actually get to play it for ourselves though, unfortunately we don't have any updates yet. There's no release date yet, but the developers have said they'll continue sharing updates over the coming months. And considering that the game was playable at Gamescom last year, and now has a much more polished looking developer presentation, it could be coming soon, and they have mentioned that they're interested in running a beta for the game as well. But one thing that's got people talking recently is the PC requirements. When the Steam page went live with the developer overview, some people noticed that the minimum requirements list 32
What the 32 gigabytes of RAM? Are you crazy? That's way too much. That's literally what I have in my streaming PC. What are they doing while the game is running that needs this much RAM? Or better said, this much. What the fuck? Especially with the RAM prices. Do they really not want people to play their games?
gigabytes of RAM, while the recommended specs jump all the way up to 64 gigabytes, which is pretty massive for one game. Especially so with today's market where memory prices are so high. And currently most modern PC games still recommend around 16 gigabytes, maybe 32 gigabytes if they're particularly demanding. So that's 64.
I've never seen a game saying 32 gigs before, ever. This is the first time I've seen that. What the RAM hog? Yes, this is horrible.
4 gigabyte recommendation is an outlier, but it does seem like this was a mistake as the dev team have updated the specs to say it was a typo and the recommended specs are 32 gigabytes, not 64. All in all, the game is looking pretty intriguing, and we did think all of you would want to take a peek at it since we know we have a lot of OG Division and Destiny fans here on the channel. If you are one of those, are you interested in this? We'd love to hear.
To be fair, this looks... When I look at the gameplay, this looks good. When I look at the character design, this looks good. But it's a live service game. So why would I? Oh my god, I hate live service games. I hate them. If this literally was just a single player game, I would just play it. I wouldn't even think about not playing it because it looks good.
Hear what you're thinking at the moment in general, not just for this game though, but also just the gaming landscape. Will you pick this one up? Are you hoping for a Destiny 3 sort of pipe dream? Or are you waiting for the Division 3? Tell us down below, and if we get any more updates about this one, Cinder City, we'll be sure to keep you posted. And do subscribe down below for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.
So, yeah. I liked everything I have seen with the exception of, live service game. And possibly PvP. These are the things that I don't like. Everything else, I like. This literally looks like a good game. Or a possibly good game. So yeah, I'm actually intrigued. I am intrigued by this game. Looks good. And thank God, attractive woman. That's how you know it's not made in the West. It is attractive woman. or attractive characters in general. I would be surprised if they have to censor this stuff in for the West because I don't know, feminism. Never underestimate how much women hate attractive women, especially how much ugly women hate attractive women. Man, they're so full of hate. And by the way, let me know in the comments what you think. Is this a kind of game that you would, wanna play? Are you turned off by it being yet another live service game? And did you also like the buttocks? And with that, we are at the end of the video. If you want to see more like this, subscribe. If you liked it, give it a like. See you next time. Bye bye.